Will you see the free programme? He wrestles 3 crocodiles. But the judging there, you know, it's our next talking point, and it was definitely highly inconsistent. The Canadian judge at the end, not quite sure what was going on there. Now, lots of emails coming in, one on that subject from Alf Hoare. Now, if this email could speak, it would be screaming. It's happening again in Nice as it did in Vienna and every other televised major skating championships for years past, by which I mean biased judging. Put simply, every event appears to be effectively prejudged so that, knowing the order of competition, marks are awarded according to what the judges expect to see rather than what the actual performances merit, and always keeping something in reserve until the predetermined favourites appear. Why?
Sometimes there is a degree of prejudging. We talked about that in the ice dancing, that people will have, by the time they go into their seats to judge the competition, they will have a good idea of the overall result at the end. And I was going to write the result before we started off here because I think I've got a pretty good idea of what that is. But having said that, one of the things we can't see is when we're close to the ice. The judges are really ice level, and they also have their video playback monitors in that they only got in last year. So they can actually, if they're not confident on a set element, whether the toe touched, they on the machine, have a look, and it just plays it back. And they have this little screen, it's really nifty. I've sat in one of the seats and used it. It's excellent. But sometimes, so maybe we're higher up in the commentary position, we look down a little bit further away, we might call it wrong. So there is a degree of, you know, Simon and Chris and you and I, we look at it and we think, well, we didn't see that. And one judge will have to stand up in a meeting, justify, that Canadian judge will have to justify 7th place against 1st. And if she doesn't justify it properly, she'll get a letter. And if she gets 2 letters, a country can be kind of stopped from judging on international competitions, all this sort of thing. Loads of things in place to try and make the judging work. But at the end of the day, I think that this idea of taking the top and the bottom out, that's a good idea, yeah, perhaps.
Which is mentioned later on.
Yes. The random picking of judges is a good idea, so that you try to avoid any national bias. One of the suggestions about only not going to the practices, be great to try it. Be
yeah,
great to try
says
it.
Here, Alf, they should not be permitted to observe practice sessions.
Now, a lot of the free skating judges don't go to the practice, because they know that they have their sheets in front of them and they have set elements that they mark and they tick them off and they write a little comment, and that's what they do for everybody, and then they push it all together. But they will judge in groups. They don't judge like number 1 who skates today against number 30. They almost judge it in groups. We know this level is going to be between 4.5 to 5.0, and so around this 5, that's what we're judging, because they know this is seeded, you know? So it's, that's a little bit about it.
Okay, Alf Hoare, thank you very much indeed. Who finishes a long email, but it's a very good one. My wife and I much enjoy your informed commentary on British Eurosport. Keep it up. Thank you very much indeed, Alf. More emails later on, plus a reminder of the competition and the answer to our latest competition. All that
with Fujifilm.
And you're missing nothing, because they are resurfacing the ice at the moment. In the next group, Group 3, Timothy Goebel of the USA is there. Had a bit of a disaster in qualifying. Can he pick up? Now, we've been talking about the emails that you've been sending us. I'm going to go back to the judging row, if you like. It's certainly developing into a major controversy here. It's one of the few sports, Nicky, where it's the perception of somebody else that decides how well you do.
I think that, yeah, there's a degree of perception. It's more in the very subjective areas of ice dancing. But even so, when you're rink side, you can see a big difference between the couples, because you see the strength, you see the speed, you see the softness, you see the flow, you see the intricacy of the movements and the way they're put together. And there's something, it's like your brain computes it all. It's this holistic judging thing. So you go, actually, they're better than them. So you can get that idea. But one of the things we often don't think about is that being a judge, you know, you have to wait and you have to go out there and be on that panel. And I know a lot of the judges, and they get very, very nervous. If they get it wrong, their country is not going to be very pleased with them who sent them, because getting a letter is not a good thing. If they get it wrong for the skater, they feel terrible themselves. So some of them feel very, very nervous, and we often don't think of it from that perspective. So we should just remember that it's not the easiest job in the world. It's easy to throw stones, but it's very, very responsible position. And when things go wrong, it really lets the side down for everybody. And there is, without doubt, behind the scenes, you know, little chivying here and there, and some of the coaches do it more than others.
There's a lot of human frailty and vulnerability there. Now, Michael Thielsen of Denmark who must have been unhappy with his marks. I mean, Al Fore, who sent us that email, did say at one point, often you and your commentary partners have enthused about a performance, talking about Simon and Chris Clink and yourself, only to see it consigned to mediocrity by the judges, not infrequently to your declared mystification. Now, do you think he will have been rightly mystified by some of the marking from this routine?
Well, the Canadian judge putting him 7th place against some of the others putting him in 1st to 3rd is definitely going to mystify him. He got a higher mark for the artistic. We were just a bit worried about him walking across the beam there, but she saw something and she'll be able to justify that. Just the others missed it. I didn't see it myself.